Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of my review of the Salomon Speedcross 5 GTX and the Salomon Speedcross 4s. So this is where I'm going to give you my opinion on which you should get, but I want to just make it quite clear that this is a very specific use case. So if you're a person that runs in really cold weather in a big city. So I'm in Chicago and it gets really cold, and so it's really icy. I don't run a lot of trails. I would like to. It's easier to do more mileage on the trails, but there just aren't any. I basically just go down. Depending on the wind, I either go north or south. So I go south all the way along, and however far down south, there's trails here along, and then there's trails in the opposite direction north. So basically that's what I do. And a few times, like basically all I do is I run in Pegasus. I've tried other ones. I'm not a super fan of Nike or anything, but this is just, I've been running with them for many years. Every time I try a different shoe, it just starts to give me niggles, so I just stick with these. I think what I'm going to probably do, this is the first year that, and this is why I started this channel, I'm really going to start trying to become a really good runner. And I think what I've realized is that it doesn't really matter what shoe you're using to an extent. So the point of me saying that, that can easily be taken out of context, or at least I need to qualify it if I'm going to say something like that, is that if you have this is the 35. It looks nice, comes out, it's 120, I think, usually 125. The 34, when it came out, it was 125. The 33 was, I think, 115 when it came out. So when I'm saying 35, that's just every year they bring out a new model. So I don't think they've actually brought out 35 models. I could be wrong. So anyway, that's what I usually use. But when I've been running up and down these trails, along the lake, there's very icy sections, and then I have to just stop and walk because I don't want to risk falling. So I've looked, there's a huge amount of videos obviously on YouTube looking at the different types of shoes for different situations, but I can't help but think that there are a lot of people that live in a big city, generally run along concrete paths like these down here, these kinds of concrete paths, that want a shoe with a bit more grip and maybe some waterproof, or at least water resistance for when it's cold and wet and rainy and snowy. And so that's what I was looking for. But I got a lot of videos that are going into different trail running shoes and their ability to grip different types of mud and rock and different types of loose gravel, and running on running in snow on up along mountains and stuff. And that's all cool, but that's just not the use case. I was just looking for something that'll have a bit more grip than these, so that I feel a bit more stable on those very icy days. Right now it's -7 degrees Celsius, feels like -12. It's nice and sunny, but it is freezing out there. And in this weather, these shoes here, these Pegasus, are perfectly fine because there's no ice. But if we had a snowstorm, it's just a terrible time being out there. So that was the whole point of me looking at these shoes. And so I tried these shoes. I did a few runs in each of them, and based on a video, I think it was Seth James Demore did a video on these speed crosses, I think the 5s, and he said that you should go a half size bigger. So I usually go size 10. I don't have very wide or thin feet, but basically I always use the US size 10s. I got 10.5 for both of these, and it was just too big for me. So first thing, and I thought it made sense because I'd wear thick socks. I don't usually wear thick socks when I run. I did when I use these, and to be honest, it's just the shoes are too big for me. So that was the first thing. I made them really tight so my feet didn't really move, so it wasn't like a huge problem, but I can feel that there'd be a slight bit of movement and risk of blisters wearing these. So that was the first thing. But that's got nothing to do with the shoes, that's just my poor choice in size. So the main issues with these shoes that I had is that, first of all, an issue particular to the Speedcross 5, which is supposed to be the newer, nicer one, is that it's a lot higher over here. And I don't know if you go into Mo Farah's channel, you'll see him talking about this high area over here. I'm sorry, I don't know the names of the different parts of a shoe. I really do think I understand shoes well, I just haven't put the effort into learning the different names, the upper and the this, and I don't know. I'm sorry. Anyway, so I'm sorry about that. But whatever you call this piece up here, this is really high. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. What I was going to say is that Mo Farah talks about this part of the Pegasus really bugs him, so he gets special ones because he used to cut this piece off. If you just go look at his videos, he's got one where he discusses that. So the point of me telling you that is that it's kind of unique to different runners. So I don't have a problem with these, but I found that this over here is just too high, and it was cutting into my foot over here, into this section over here. It was cutting into that because of how high up the shoes. I didn't have the same problem here with these Speedcross 4s. It's more like most other shoes. So that was the one problem. And they're really cool because they're so hardcore. They're thick, they're strong, they're really bulky shoes. So for the snowy conditions, they really are, or the icy conditions, they're a great, very, very strong shoe. I remember years ago when I did a bit of trail running, one of the problems when you bought a trail, I think I was studying back then. Either way, I didn't have much money, so you never want to waste money. But I remember I would never go for these shoes because the trail running shoes, whenever I ran on the road, I'd wear them down so quickly. And with these giant lugs on both of them, these are a bit smaller. If they look clean, they look like they haven't been running. I've cleaned them really, really well after each of the runs because I wasn't sure if I was keeping them or not. But I have been running in them. So the lugs are really thick on those. So it's a really thick, sturdy, strong shoe, both of them. And so if you like that, if you want something that's super durable, then they're both great for that. So the one problem for me was that this was just too high up on this. And to be honest, after doing the runs, I just felt like there was one or two icy sections and I felt a bit more confident on them. But when you've got like a sheet of ice, these aren't going to protect you. Then you probably need something. I was going to do a running headphone review because I've bought so many of these things, expensive ones, cheap ones, so that's why those are lying there. What I just wanted to show you was these. I think I had them in the last video. I still haven't had a chance to try them, but I think you're really going to need some sort of studs to really get a lot of grip on the ice. So basically I have two main points for this video, and what I want to get across or emphasize is that this is, I think, a large group of people that fit into this category, but I just want to highlight what category of people I'm reviewing for. So just to make sure that I at least make this useful for one group of people, and that is people that run quite a lot. They run in an urban setting where it's really, really, really cold, below freezing. So when it's a nice sunny day like this, it's still way below freezing, and so the ice is not going to go away. There'll be a lot of salt on the ground in a lot of places, so you might, you're going to be spending most of your time on the concrete. But say you do 10 miles, so you do 16 kilometers, just 200-300 meter stretches, or 50 meter stretches of ice, is really going to slow you down. You're going to have to stop, you're going to have to walk, you might want to change your route, and it just messes things up. So if you can just feel a bit more confident on that ice, That's what you want out of a shoe. That's what I was looking for. Something with a bit that I feel a bit more confident than the close to zero grip on these things that I normally run on. With that in mind, that's who this video was for. I looked at a whole bunch of different shoes. I looked at a whole bunch of different reviews. Came across these for good prices, the Speedcross 4s and Speedcross 5s. They were the Speed Goats by, don't make me say that name, Hoka One, yeah, the Hoka One Speedcross, no, Speed Goat 2 waterproof mid. So waterproof and high up over here. Also, sorry, I was actually thinking of getting these because I wanted something high up, because when you have a lot of snow and sludge, you know, you don't want it to get in here. The worst is when you get wet, cold feet, when it's, you know, close to zero or well below zero. Anyway, with all of that said and done, I'm actually not going to use any of these. They don't give me that much more stability or security. They don't do much more in these settings. On all of the runs, when I got to the ice, I still went slowly, very, very slowly, and lots of places I just walked. But there aren't that many places with a lot of ice. Luckily, they, you know, put a lot of salt down on the main trails, the city, so it's not a huge problem. Or it's a problem that I can't really solve. If I want to solve it, I must move somewhere else, or I must run on a treadmill. So I don't think these are really going to do anything. Now, that being said, if you were comparing these two and you wanted to get a pair of them, what I would do, and it sounds silly, I'm not going to get any of these, but I am going to get a pair. I got these off Amazon. These were, I think, $130. So these are waterproof, the Gore-Tex, which is fantastic. And those are the 5s. This is the older iteration, the 4s, the Speedcross 4s, but I didn't get the waterproof ones. And so what I will do for $110, and they were $78. So if you don't worry too much about the ice, I would say the best choice is to just carry on running with whatever you're comfortable with. For me, it's these. If you have some really crazy conditions, you know, some days you're going to have a crazy storm out, then you might want, and you still want to go run outside, keep that consistency going, then I would think that what you want is the cheapest of these. And so that's either these, or you can get the Gore-Tex version of the 4s. Sorry, these are the 4s, Speedcross 4s. And yeah, get those for about $110. If you don't care about the waterproof, $78 for these kind of shoes is just simply amazing. I hope I don't sound like I'm contradicting myself, because I'm ending up probably not using these in nearly every single day. But I still think it's a good looking shoe. It's well built. It's very, very grippy. It's just, you know, it's not going to stop you from slipping on, you know, long sections of ice. So if it's icy out, you know, tiny little bits of ice, or you're running on a bit of snow and ice near a trail, this will definitely help. If it's like grass, I don't know if that makes sense. What I'm saying is that if it's just like the slick ice over the concrete, you know, nothing's going to keep you from slipping on that. But if it's like really icy, slippery conditions, that you might slip with these, but it's like on grass, or there's a bit of dirt and there's a bit of salt, and you slip every now and then with these on, then these shoes are definitely going to give you a lot more confidence. So I am going to keep a pair, and I am going to run in them, but only on those extremely cold, snowy days where I otherwise would just not run outside. But other than that, I don't see myself using them very often. So hopefully that's useful for you. There's no big difference between these two in terms of performance, whatever. As a athlete, I don't know what you want to call my level. So I did my first marathon. I messed up. I walked lots of it, and I did it in 3:20 something. That was New York Marathon. I think I can easily go under 3 hours. My main goal is to get to 2:30. Maybe it sounds a bit absurd. I'm running about 100 kilometers a week now, so whatever that is, I don't know, 65 miles a week, and I'm slowly progressing it up for a marathon in April. So running a fair amount, but nowhere near some of the really good amateurs, nowhere near that level. So if you kind of take your running seriously, you run a lot, you run every day, you do some strength work, and you're trying to improve. That's the mindset you have. You want to get out every day. You don't care too much about gear, but you don't want to be injured, and you don't want to be uncomfortable, so you get the right gear, just not too much of it. Then that would put you, I guess, in the same kind of frame of mind as me. And I would say stick with what you've got. So for me, it's Pegasus. In the future, I'm actually not even going to be buying these. I'm just going to go to the factory store and get whatever they have, 35s or 34s, whatever costs $65. I don't really care, because now I'm really starting to churn through the shoes, and I don't want to waste money on them. Then, yeah, out of those two, I think just go for the cheaper one. They're both great. So for me, out of all of this, final winner in terms of really snowy, icy conditions in a really cold winter, in the snow, in a big city, I would say that this shoe, the $78 Speedcross, Salomon Speedcross 4, is great value for money. Thank you. I hope that was useful. And okay, I don't have any cheesy line, but I do genuinely wish everybody all the best in terms of their purchases and their decisions going forward in their running, and obviously more importantly with their training and their enjoyment and pursuance of improvement in running. Cool. Thank you for watching.